One of the other major things that's happened recently is the Cost of Living Commission, what used to be called, I believe, the Price Commission.
Yes.
When I was researching this yesterday, I accidentally actually came across a Burt News story from July 2011 from Paula Cox.
Absolutely.
Who said at the time in a statement to the House, accordingly, government will use the powers of inquiry available under the Price Commission Act to obtain information from food importers about their import costs, etc., etc. Talked about obtaining relevant economic data, engaging interest groups, and then number 7, producing a report for the Minister recommending how government can assist in ensuring that consumers can get the most reasonable price for essential goods and services.
Correct.
What happened to that report? Have you no idea?
I don't believe that report was ever published, to be honest.
Was it done?
I do not believe it was. I don't believe it was. I know there were interim reports that I've seen, but those interim reports were very thin, and they spoke to future steps of which could be taken. And what I think is also important is to understand and to recognize that the Price Control Commission did not meet during the entirety tenure of the One Bermuda Alliance government. I don't even think they were even appointed. And so from that perspective, we recognize that there are places inside of law where there are things in place which will allow the power of inquiry to be used, and we're going to do that. And it's a broad cross-section. We talk about food, but there's also the cost of healthcare, cost of medicines, and different items. So as I told the Parliament, the person who's going to be leading this for us is going to be Senator Anthony Richardson. He was actually on. He was on the Price Commission before, and we're confident that we're going to be able to have that broad cross-section, have that discussion, and talk about this issue, which is the most important issue to the residents of this country. The cost of living and the cost of doing business is what is killing and crushing us, and we have to find a way to improve that.
Okay, so what do you want to accomplish? I mean, you're talking broad strokes. Is there something more specific you'd like to see coming from this?
Absolutely. Well, I can tell you what the specific result is. A reduction in the cost of living in Bermuda.
But it's a question of how you get from A to B.
Absolutely. I'm not going to prejudge the work of the Cost of Living Commission. What I am going to say is that I believe there are places inside of our local economy where we can be more efficient, which can deliver lower prices for goods, lower prices for consumers.
Can you be more specific? Can you expand on that?
Health insurance is one. I think when we're talking about food importers and food production, I think there's food importers, production and sale. I think there's places where we can be more efficient there to pass on savings towards consumers.
What would your idea of efficiency be?
Our idea of efficiency is possibly, in some cases, cutting out middlemen. Cutting out middlemen, in some cases.
Which would risk unemployment, perhaps?
Well, in the broad sense, someone would say it would risk unemployment. But if you look at an economy as a whole, if you have a reduction of the cost of living, which means that the cost of doing business is less inside the country, that means that it allows other people to spend money in other areas in the economy, and you create additional growth in other places.
Who do you regard as the middleman?
I can speak in food importers. It would be food importers, the transportation, different things, all the rest. I mean, there's lots of different ways, but I think that we should look and study this in its entirety. We should not look to prejudge, but I think that there are places where you can be more efficient. I mean, another issue is when we talk about healthcare and prescription medicines, which are extraordinarily expensive. I think that I was in London at the student reception, and the lady was talking about her asthma medicine is like £1 in the UK and $50-something here. There surely has to be a reason why that's the case.
Right, in the UK, they are pumping extra billions of pounds a year.
That's perfectly fine. But what I'm saying is, surely there's a way to find out why is that so different, and how can we get a better deal for the consumer here locally?
In the UK, the taxpayer is paying for it.
Billions of pounds extra. That much may be the case, but I think there's also space and scope to recognize that in certain places as well, the taxpayers may not pay for it, but we may be paying an extraordinary amount, and we would want to pay less.
Just going back to the middleman thing, I mean, I can kind of see that the larger businesses here will have the economies of scale, they'll have the infrastructure set up, where it might not have to have a middleman, but a small businessman needs a middleman.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Jeremy. It's 2017. The world is changing. The pace of logistics are changing. Distributed ledger technology and the blockchain can make things more efficient insofar as supply chain management and otherwise. And we can look to how those efficiencies can actually drill down to the consumer. And that is where this government is focused. I feel very sorry for the people who work in IT inside of the government of Bermuda, because they have a leader who understands information technology very clearly. And so when they come and say, oh, well, this is something that might take a while and all the rest, I say, I know exactly how long it should take, and we need to start pushing and moving forward on these measures.